They've been featured on Forbes. They've been featured on Vogue, The Shade Room. You saw them on the Black Panther campaign. You saw them on the Lion King animated movie campaign. They got a big one coming up here in a couple weeks with a big movie coming out. I ain't gonna say which one of these yet because you got to watch the interview to find out. It's NDA signing this thing. You know what I mean? That's right. We're talking with Paakow Essandoh, the founder of MIZIZI Shop, the CEO of MIZIZI Shop. This is SitM Podcast. I'm your host, Reflex. It's an incredible conversation, man. Great guy. Y'all don't want to miss it. The intro is gonna roll. We're gonna get right into it. Let's get it. So Paakow, what's the best piece of advice that you've ever been given? What is the best piece of advice that you've ever been given? Let's start right there.
Man, we're really jumping into it. The best piece of advice I've ever been given, or at least one that's pretty prevalent in my life right now, is trust but validate. I think I have a habit of giving people the benefit of the doubt, and trusting them. But at the end of the day, you need to also validate that trust. People can talk the talk, but can they walk the walk too? And I feel like that one-liner just reminds me to make sure that, like, although people, what they say might look good and look pretty, make sure that they follow through.
Yeah, especially, building a brand and business like what you've been able to build with MIZIZI. You were actually studying biomedical science in order to become a pharmacist in Texas, and then somewhere in Florida, I should say. And then somewhere in between that journey, MIZIZI happened. Walk us through that.
So back in high school was the first time I'd ever had dived into like fashion or clothing. I've always been pretty lucrative growing up. I've always done like odd jobs for money, whether it was selling candy or being my apartment's like trash valet. I've always just found little ways to make put some extra cash in my pocket. When I was in high school, I went through this whole graffiti drawing phase where I was just making a bunch of graffiti art. And one of the designs that I'd made, I had really liked. It was called Ice Cream. And it was like 3 different ice cream cones, and they were all melting, but it was going to the graffiti that said like ice cream, and it was just whatever. But I love that design, and I did a whole bunch of research figuring out like, okay, what options do I have in regards to printing, in regards to quality, in regards to fabric, and that was like my first kind of like taste of, I guess, fashion, or just like the business of fashion. I made one shirt, but I never sold it or anything. It was just it wasn't feasible at the time. So going into college, going to the University of South Florida, I didn't have any idea what I wanted to do with my life. I figured that pharmacy it's a secure route, it's a safe route, it's a chill ass job. So I thought, and I didn't have to see blood, right? Like blood makes me queasy. So I figured this was something that was secure, paid well, and it was breezy. But
was this something you wanted to do though? Like, so your parents were like, hey, we need a pharmacy doctor in the family.
So my mom, it's always been my mom, and she's never been super like, she's never been super stern and always let me kind of bump my head and figure out what it is that I wanted to do. She would just like support and back me up with whatever direction that I'm going in. But she'll be quick to tell me like, okay, here are the pros and cons. And if it's not something that she recommends, then she's gonna make it known that she's not feeling it. But no, like it was, pharmacy was all my choice. In high school, I took some classes to become a pharmacy technician. I had gotten my certification my sophomore year of college at USF. I ended up taking time off of school and working at a retail pharmacy as a pharmacy tech for a little bit. And that's wherever I really realized that this is not what I want to do. But let me rewind a bit. So MIZIZI was first conceived my freshman year at USF. I was really lonely. I was trying to figure out a way to make friends. This one Kenyan kid who really inspired me, he would come into the dining hall and would have, it would pretty much be the same thing that we wear over here in the States, but have Kenyan fabric stitched into it. Like the pockets, the sleeves, pants, literally everything from head to toe. And being from Texas, I knew that I had a lot of friends back home that would rock with it. So it was like a passion project. I started working on it, started working on some designs. After the end of my freshman year, I tried to find a manufacturer. I went to New York, realized I was trying to find a manufacturer that do everything from start to finish, from like product design and ideation all the way
yeah.
to logistics and distribution. But the manufacturers that I found were all just trying to charge me too much, or they told me I was trying to do too much. So from there, that's whenever I was like, okay, let me downsize. Let me pick one idea. Maybe I am doing too much. What is the one idea out of all of these that I've designed and drawn that I'm no designer. I didn't draw them, but like I had somebody draw them. But out of all these ideas, what is the one that I know will be the most successful? And this was during like the baseball jersey trend was going on. Literally every retailer had their own baseball jerseys. So I was like, all right, cool. Like I've never seen an African baseball jersey. I have this design. Let's see where I can take this. And that's whenever after that freshman summer, I took time off of school because I was really, really lonely at USF. Like I couldn't make friends. Or I couldn't make very many friends. And that time off, I was working at CVS as a pharmacy tech and really just trying to figure out like, okay, what is it that I wanted to do with my life? Do I want to go back to USF? Do I want to transfer to a new school? Do I want to go to a school in Texas? And ultimately I ended up saying, all right, fuck it. Let me just finish out what I already started. So my sophomore spring semester, I went back to Tampa. It was a rough semester for me. I was couch surfing for a bit. And my grades were slipping. All my relationships were breaking down around me. And it was just bad. So by the end of that semester, I ended up going to Orlando. I had a friend that I grew up with that he was currently attending University of Central Florida, 2-hour drive from Tampa. Ended up staying the entire summer with him. He let me kick it on his couch too. During that time, I was trying to find another manufacturer. Everybody else finding was too expensive. So from there, I was like, okay, let me figure out how to sell the product and do as much research as possible. And then from there, I can pitch the idea to any other brands and see if they'll actually do like the hard work, but I still make money off royalties off the idea and show them just like, all right, this is how you go about selling it. This is where the markets are at.
Well, what was the first baseball? What was the first MIZIZI joint that you actually printed out and like put it out for people to buy?
So the first collection that I launched was Black Africa, or like a Black Africa baseball jersey, Ghana, Nigeria, Ethiopia, Eritrea, Kenya, and Egypt. And that was because I did my research and I was figuring out which countries had the biggest like populations within the United States and had the biggest communities out here. And I deduced it was down to those countries.
Damn, that's like a lot, going in. It's like, yo, I'm just gonna hit a lot of different, lines at my first go.
I wanted to make sure that like I made an imprint, like I made an impact. I was loud.
How did it do?
We went viral, or we went like semi-viral. If you go back to a lot of our old original tweets or a lot of our old pictures, we used to tell people to tag somebody who's from this country or location. And everybody has a friend. I
think I was one of the first like
Cameroon. Yeah, Cameroon joint. It dropped maybe 3 months into MIZIZI. Yeah. We launched in August. We released the Cameroon joint in, I want to say, November 2015. Yeah. Yeah. So it was one of the first drops that we had.
Going into it, you know what I mean? Like, especially, you mentioned at Florida and, just moving around, not being able to build strong relationships and, friendships like that. Were you like, okay, I'm going to do this and I can't really find any, manufacturers, people who want to take it from the ground up and I just reap benefits. Were you thinking like, I can do this on my own? Or you sought out, co-founders and people to, kind of like build a brand together? Or you were just like, this is my idea. I'm just going to run with it and find people to, do what I can't do.
So the homie who inspired me to start the brand, his name was George. He is Kenyan. He was originally supposed to be one of my co-founders, but from the jump, he wasn't putting in as much like energy into researching, or like he just had a bunch of different other endeavors that he was juggling at the same time. And I recognized that MIZIZI wasn't one that, even from the beginning, if you're not pouring effort into it, then I know that as things progress, it's not going to get any better. Right. So I'd asked for his blessing if I can just take the idea and run, and he gave it to me. And from there on, I was just like, all right, this is me. Like I'm gonna be doing this myself. So I never, outside of George, I never really thought about like having a co-founder or running the business with somebody else.
Mm-hmm. At what point, if any, did you think, yo, I need investors? And are you at the point right now where you think you need investors, or you like, yo, we're doing pretty good?
We're doing pretty good. MIZIZI's been outside of my mom, who's like our angel investor.
Mm-hmm.
She was the one who invested the first 6,000 into the company so that I could actually get started.
Mm-hmm.
And she's the one who's always been like that background support of like pouring cash into us whenever we need it.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, MIZIZI's pretty self-sustaining. We're not really looking for outside capital at the moment.
Right.
But when we're at that point,
yeah, I read that you actually were able to retire her, and she works for MIZIZI now. I guess that's the payback. If you've been able to pay her back her $6,000.
Yeah. So, yeah. So it wasn't like a smooth, like clean cut retirement. It was more so she had quit her previous job, and at her age, she wasn't. Jobs aren't looking for older Black women right now.
Right.
Especially with ones who have like degrees that are older or becoming a little bit more obsolete. So it took a little time before she just started doing more and more work for MIZIZI, and to the point where it was like, all right, well, she came to the conclusion that she'd rather be, if she's going to be spending any more energy or pouring anything into anybody, it might as well be her son and her son's business versus a corporation or a company that doesn't treat her well.
Yeah, growing up, did your mom or dad, anybody, saying like ever, instill into you the entrepreneur mindset, or this is just something that you just, grew into it and just found that it's you?
I think
it around you.
I think it was my friends. So I lived in Columbus, Ohio from like 2 years old to 10 years old. But the friends that I had made there they left a pretty significant impact on me. And I think it was through them that I kind of gained that entrepreneurial, just like itch. Yeah. Because we used to have a lot of just random endeavors. We had this one magazine called the KQN, Kids Quarterly News, and like every week we'd print out just like random ass stories that we found interesting, and then would sell them. We made sure that we printed it on like the good paper. And then we'd sell it for like a quarter, and like it was never profitable, but it was just one of those little things that like we saw that we could take business into our own hands.
You've been around the States. You from Ghana?
I am.
You how many siblings do you have?
It's just me.
Were you born in the States or back in Ghana?
So I was born in New York, and then from there I moved to Ohio, and then from Ohio I moved to Texas, and Texas went to school in Florida. And after I graduated in Florida, now I'm back in school, or I'm back home in Texas.
What was the last time you've been to Ghana?
Bro, honestly, since I was like since I was a kid.
it's incredible, like, saying still having that connection, saying to back home with the brand MIZIZI, which actually speak about the name and, the choice of, choosing the name MIZIZI, and where does that originate from?
Oh, it's actually Swahili. And it means roots. Whenever I was first coming up with the idea of the name, I was with George, and I was just going through a list of words that were just like related to Africa or like diaspora, and I was just writing them all down. And as we were going through them, he was translating them into Swahili. So whenever we got down to roots and I heard MIZIZI, I was like, okay. I was like, I like this one. This is the one. And yeah, I stuck it and ran with it.
What was the runner up? It don't even matter at this point, huh?
I don't even remember, to be honest. So, like, I don't think there was one. I think that after I heard MIZIZI, I was just like, all right, nothing else compares. Like, this one is smooth, it rolls off the tongue, and like it has meaning.
Yeah. Now I think MIZIZI is it. Where is MIZIZI? Where is the manufacturer? Like, where is the clothes manufactured?
So we are currently manufactured in Asia, China to be specific, but we're expanding our manufacturing network. I just got back from Pakistan literally 2 weeks ago. So I was locking in a new manufacturer out there. And then we want to expand into the continent, but that's also been easier said than done.
Yeah.
But the goal is to bring manufacturing back home and to be able to put money back in our people's pockets.
So, starting your brand, and then scaling it is one thing. To start a brand and then scaling this is another thing. You know what I mean? You were able to scale within the first 6 months, really, of starting a brand and launching in 2015. And then by 2016, you being, covered it around the world with everybody who is not in the diaspora from the continent, Africa. Like, yo, this is tying me back to home, and I can represent home and not, carry a flag, like it's clothing, it's apparel. How do you think that came about in your own words, being able to scale that fast or being able to scale apparel? Because it's not easy at all.
I feel like the idea was just, I think it was a mixture of time. I think that like Afropolitan is we're in a time where it's been pop culture, it's becoming pop culture, or becoming more on the forefront of pop culture. And it's the attitudes is just shifting, especially in the States. I also think that, man, honestly, I'm just blessed. Honestly, I'm just blessed. This is my first like real deal business. I've been doing it for all of my 20s. I don't have business mentors. I never went to business like classes. So I can say I think this, that, and the third was what happened or why I was successful. But at the end of the day, it's really just a blessing, just favor.
What does it take to build a brand? You know what I mean? Like, and then it withstand the changes of culture and technology.
I think it's easier said than done. I think there's a lot of that. I forgot how that like static versus noise analogy went, but you recognize that a lot of things are just kind of like trendy for the time. A lot of things don't. They have their moment, they have their momentum, their spotlight, but then they pass. And I think a lot of times, a lot of people kind of, especially when it comes to fashion, you get caught up in that rat race of trying to be on the forefront of what's trendy. And I think when it comes to MIZIZI, we just have an original product that is, sports is timeless, right? Like people play sports literally all throughout history. So there's always going to be a market for merchandise for sports. And the fact that we're adding that extra layer of identity and culture to it just makes it that much more, I don't know if original is the word that I want to use, but I think it's what kind of sets us apart. So yeah, I think that's been the biggest thing of like being able to ignore trends and focus on a product that is something that is timeless, that is classic.
Yeah, and I respect that. Listen, it's no secret that MIZIZI is out here. What was, saying, like, what was the biggest check that you just cashed out? I'm like, yo, let me just look at this.
So I ain't gonna say exact numbers, but whenever I was 19, I wrote a check out to myself by my 21st birthday that I'd reach a certain amount, or at least a certain amount in sales, not necessarily net profit. But yeah, so I wrote that to myself. I prayed over it. I put it away. I didn't think much of it. But like my 21st birthday was about 5 months after I launched MIZIZI. And that January, I had just gotten my tax returns back. And I had looked at the amount that I had of gross income that I had done for the year, or those 5-6 months with MIZIZI so far. And it's just crazy that I actually reached that amount that I had written on that check 2 years prior to.
Dang. That's a blessing for real. You know what I mean? One thing about, this platform Stuck in the Middle is, that name Stuck in the Middle is that we had like success stories and, some people building brands, people being innovative and creative, but it's not always, easy. The road is not always, smoothly paved. Talk about those struggles, man. What has been the biggest struggle specifically getting this brand off the road to where it is today, as you're speaking to us today?
Man, there is always new challenges. After you put out one fire, there's always another one that pops up. In the beginning was manufacturing and finding like an actual reliable manufacturer at affordable price points where I could actually make, actually have margins. And after I was able to like figure out that puzzle piece, by the time we launched, the next piece was like logistics and shipping and distribution. We had sold out. I had ordered about 210 jerseys total for the first launch. Sold out with those within a week. And this is while I was in Tampa. So I'm just like, I'm not about to package and run back and forth between the post office, carrying like maybe like 10, 20 packages in my car and keep doing that back and forth. Like that's not efficient. I'm in school. Like I can't scale this way. So I found a distribution center that was down the street. Come to find out, although they were small businesses as well. So like as we grew and as we started adding more products, more variants, they just weren't able to handle it. So a lot of customers were starting to get like the wrong jerseys, wrong sizes. They were delayed. Even started having problems with my manufacturer to where they would stitch the wrong colors, and we've gone through a lot, yo. But one of like the two biggest things that were like the biggest challenges for me to conquer was just like the supply chain side. So like manufacturing and production, and then also logistics and distribution.
Yeah. How have you been able to stay resilient through the pandemic? You know what I mean? As a business, as a small business.
So we've actually got shown a lot of love this summer. Between the civil unrest, a lot of people started showing love and like supporting with the Black Lives Matter jersey, or buying the Black Lives Matter jersey and wearing it out. And then rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman. But when he had passed, a lot of people started buying the Wakanda jerseys and repping those out and showing support for him that way. And yeah, it was honestly just grace. I have no idea how because we didn't release we released one product in 2020, and that was our Sudanese soccer jersey on New Year's, like really the first day of 2020. But outside of that, we didn't release any new products. So I really don't have like a smooth answer for how we waded through the water, but we made it to the other side.
Yeah. Speaking of the Black Lives Matter and the Wakanda jerseys, and we're gonna get to that a little bit later. It's in your opinion, you know what I mean? Because I studied fashion, studied brand. It's very difficult, especially brand to patent branding. How and have you run into any situation where somebody's like taking one of your brands or ideas and like say, hey, this is mine?
Nothing. No one's claimed so we have copyright and trademark over our designs, MIZIZI, the logo, all that. So no one's ever claimed like one of our designs as theirs before, but we have inspired other brands to make jerseys representing countries. I have ran into problems when a previous manufacturer was marketing their business with our jerseys, but just taking off like the MIZIZI on the back. So there's been like a few ups and downs, but honestly, when you are loud enough, when people know that you're the original, it only just kind of like, I don't know, I take it as flattery, yo.
Yeah.
I don't mind. And honestly, there's enough money out here for everybody to eat, so I'm really not tripping.
I respect that. Love it. In 2018, you tweeted, you know what I mean, that you were gonna collab with Marvel in anticipation of the Black Panther movie that was coming out back then. Then launched a dope Black Panther jersey. How did that collab actually happen? Because I was kind of like watching that, but I don't know the end of it.
It was official. We launched our officially licensed Wakanda jersey in May of 2018. And then the following year, we were part of the Lion King, the live action movie merchandise release. And we did that in summer of 2019 in July. And we have another movie that we're working with that's coming up that we're launching at the end of this month.
Hey man, I already know it's coming. It's like, nah, Am I close?
Yeah, I'll say you might be. You might never die.
Hey man, I know the movie's not out yet, so NDAs are in place, but Black Panther and Lion King are out. So just talk about that, man. Like, just share the experience and just what it meant for you and your team, really.
Yeah, that's probably one of just our biggest trophies. And this was 2017, whenever the Black Panther movie trailer had dropped. This was like October. And everybody had hopped on Twitter talking about, hey, yo, we should all wear traditional wear to the movie. And then we had some people talking about we should wear MIZIZI jerseys. And then we had other people who were talking about, no, MIZIZI just needs to make a jersey for it. So after I'd heard that, I was just like, I love the idea, but you know what I'm saying? This is Marvel and this is Black Panther. This is a huge ass movie. There's no way that they'll be willing to work with a 3-year-old Black owned business. But I started doing more research, started figuring out like, okay, what are the holes in Marvel's marketing? How can MIZIZI be the solution? Who are their merchandisers? What is the quality of the product? How do we compare? And just doing as much research as possible so that I could position ourselves as the answer. So by December, I had sent over a pitch to their licensing team. They told me no. They told me that they already have merchandisers who are already making products and they don't need anymore. And after a bit of exchange, a bit of back and forth, eventually they told me like, hey, yo, if you release anything with Marvel IP on it, we'll have to take legal action. It's like, okay, let me stop poking the bear. Let me go through a different route. Cause I don't want to burn any bridges before I even got on them hoes. Right. So from there, we made this whole like MIZIZI for Marvel campaign to where we created a mock-up, like a fake Black Panther jersey or what it would look like. We dropped a video on social media and we're like, hey, yo, we can't release this jersey, but if you want it, you know what I'm saying, tag Marvel and let them know that this is what you want. There is proof of concept. So that did really well as well. It kind of went viral. It got picked up by the Shade Room, but all throughout this time, like, they were still telling us no. So February comes around, the movie is dropping at the end of February, and I was just like, okay, last efforts. We're gonna rent out the movie theater and show the Black Panther people that we're still supporting regardless, and that like we're gonna try to get as many people to come out and watch the movie with us. And we had a whole MIZIZI movie night to where we were like, hey, yo, if you have a MIZIZI jersey, you don't have to pay for your ticket. Just come and kick it and watch the movie with us. And if you don't have a jersey, like $5 and you can get in and watch with us anyways. So that did well. Sent all of our efforts over to them. They were still telling us no. So throughout this entire time, like from October to February, I had been finding people on LinkedIn who worked at Marvel. And just like reaching out to them and just be like, hey, yo, I am Paakow Essandoh. This is MIZIZI. This is what we're trying to do. Is there anybody that you can recommend I talk to make it happen? And a lot of people ignored me. I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure that they talked about me and called me that annoying kid and they mentioned me at some point. But there's eventually I was able to get a response back. Someone gave me an email for a lady at Disney, ended up emailing her. And within a week's time, she had emailed me saying she loved my tenacity and ambition. Can I hop on the phone in 2 hours? And I hopped on the phone with her. And then in 2 days, I was in LA talking to Disney's consumer products team, trying to figure out how we can make the Black Panther jersey a real thing.
Sheesh, I ain't even gonna ask you what a check was like after all them endeavors, but I'm sure it was worth it.
I mean, it's definitely, it's not even like they were cutting us a check. We actually have to pay more in order to produce the jersey because we have to pay them for the license.
No, yeah, I get it.
But it's definitely a legitimizer. I definitely think that people saw that and were like, okay, like MIZIZI is for real. They're here to stay. And they got that major cosign.
Yeah. As a founder and CEO of MIZIZI, you know what I mean? Like you kind of wear a couple of different hats now, and it's been launched since 2015. What is this now? 6 years? 6 years?
Yeah.
Yeah, 6 years. I'm sure your role has changed. What do you function as now these days?
It's a great question. I think as the team is kind of growing, or as we have more moving parts, I'm seeing myself more leaning into like the manager role, making sure that we're reaching all deadlines, making sure everything's happening on time, making sure people are doing what they're supposed to be doing. And then outside of that, I still have a heavy hand when it comes to like
design.
Not even designing, because I just come up with the concepts. Like our designer, he's in Ghana. He's the one who makes the magic happen and brings like a dope idea to life. From there, I'm the one who just kind of like, okay, can we tweak this, or can we remove this? Can we add this? And just add like slight changes. But I do have a heavy hand in like, I guess the overall creative concepts. I'll do what I can to learn as much as I can about a country's culture, whether it be from their past or current and modern pop culture. and finding like all the little nuances and ways that we can incorporate it to make sure that people know that we are talking to people from these communities and that we're not just like blindly shooting like we were in the beginning.
Yeah, that's definitely much appreciated. Let's talk about marketing strategy. You mentioned 2020, you dropped one line, the Sierra Leone joint, first top of the year. I'm sure you got cannons, you about to fire off 2021. Talk about marketing strategy. How do you and your team consistently deliver, a message that piques consumers' interest and people constantly, going to MIZIZI to shop, for the next jersey or the different kind of baseball, soccer, whatever you drop?
Consistent dope shit. That's always kind of been my mantra, to make sure that we're putting out something that's remarkable, something that makes people want to talk or share about it. Granted, in the past we've been very passive with our marketing, but now we just hired a digital ad agency, so we're going to be a bit more proactive this year with all of our campaigns to make sure that they do get the exposure and have the money behind them to push the message as far as it can. But for the most part, like, as long as you are putting out something dope, people are going to talk about it regardless, yo. So it's just a matter of staying consistent.
How do you think fashion consumption has changed, in the last 10 years?
I think that people aren't people are leaning more towards sustainability. People care about how they're affecting the world. People are buying, well, I don't know. So I could say that luxury is dying, but at the same time, it's really not. It's really, really not. But I do think that even luxury itself is shifting to a more like streetwear-esque kind of model, to where people are just wanting to wear what's cozy. They want to wear what's cozy, what's comfortable, but also looks good at the same time. Yeah. And I think that's why like athleisure is positioned to actually grow or to scale further and further, because especially when it came to like Corona, everybody's in the house. You can have a fly ass jacket on, but like if you're in the house, who's seeing it, right?
Facts. Facts. As we wind down a little bit of a different note here, I read that while you were, in Texas, Plano, Texas, at one point in your life studying, mental health is actually one thing that you, mental health and environment is one thing that you're passionate about. Just speak on that a little bit.
Even just like coming home from Texas, it was just I don't know, it showed me that how much an environment can affect you, or affect your attitudes, affect how you feel. The time I took off of school, I was working as a server at Buffalo Wild Wings, as well as a pharmacy tech on the weekends at CVS. And when I was working at Buffalo Wild Wings, I could work a double shift. I could work a 14-hour shift and still be willing to go out and party with friends and wake up the next morning. I'll be hungover, I'll be a little tired, but I'm gonna still come to work and I'm gonna still feel like, okay, I can take on the day. When it came to working at the pharmacy, it was just a lot more draining. My shifts were shorter. They were either 4 hours or 8 hours, like on the dot. But I don't know. I really just didn't enjoy it. It made life feel so much slower, and it didn't feel healthy. It didn't feel conducive to my health. So that's whenever I got the first taste of like, oh wow, so like your coworkers, the environment, people, the conversations that you have, the work that you're doing really does have an effect on your mood and how you even perceive the world. And then from there, like, I've always just been very cognizant about how my environment or the people I'm talking to, the conversations I'm having do affect me. And I don't know, like even now I'm in therapy. I go bi-weekly, and I make sure that I'm still able to balance that line between recognizing that I am a human being just here to live, and that like I'm no different than anybody else, but I'm also like in a position to where I know I'm blessed, I know I'm favored, I know that I'm in a position to where I can create like major change and impact in this world, and that I'm here to do great things. And I think that therapy itself has really helped me balance those two dualities.
Yeah, man. What celebrity would you want to be a brand ambassador for MIZIZI? Well, two. Let me just say two celebrities would you most want to be brand ambassador for MIZIZI?
Celebrities. That's a hard one, yo, because if one thing like MIZIZI has taught me is that not everybody are as they appear. A lot of celebrities, athletes, socialites, and yeah, some just aren't what you expect. But if I were to name some off the top of my head, I'm a huge WizKid fan, so I definitely want WizKid to be one of our brand ambassadors. Who else? I'm kind of open. I'm really open because I'm realizing that there's Africans in literally crooks and nannies of everything in this world. You find them in the most random places, in the most random positions. And I'm recognizing that like it's the people who, it's not even like the big stars or anything, but it's the people who have like those small intimate communities that actually make the most impact within them.
Yeah. Hey man, I got a round of questions here. The answer is gonna be rapid, but before that, I want to say I really appreciate the mountain. You know what I mean on this show right here. This is fire. So I really appreciate that. The detail. It's not one of the big things that Cameroon is known for, but this right here is like if you know. So you did your thing on the research on that. So yeah, shout out to you.
We're definitely planning on remaking a new Cameroon jersey, maybe including like the I hope I'm pronouncing it right, the Tonga print.
Yeah, Togo, yeah.
Togo print, but we'll see. I know there's a lot going on in Cameroon right now.
Yeah.
So we're kind of not touching it until things kind of stabilize, but
wise. Because even with a Togo, there's some division there. But yeah, man. What is your favorite Ghanaian dish?
Okay.
Kinky. Ooh, yeah. I never had kinky, but I heard a lot about it. Who inspires you the most?
My mom.
What country in Africa would you want to go to right now just to chill, just to like, just decompress, chill?
Madagascar. I really heard a lot about how beautiful the island is, and like I feel like it's one of those things that people know for the movie, but not actually for like the people. So yeah, I want to go there. What country have you been to where it's like there's a lot of business in the continent, there's a lot of business opportunities here? South Africa. We went to Joburg for Afropunk Paris, or Afropunk Johannesburg. And the business is definitely there. How the attitude or just how we were received was really, really well. It's just a matter of manufacturing at a price point and like having a product that actually fits the market.
Yeah. What's the last book you read? What are you currently reading?
Last book I read was Growth IQ by, her name is Tony something. And that just talks about like the different growth paths that a business can go or can endeavor, and which one that a leader should choose to take or which time. The next book that I'm reading, I just bought Reed Hastings' audiobook, No Rules. And that's the CEO of Netflix. So it just talks about like the Netflix culture and how he grew the company.
Man, dope stuff, man. Listen, we appreciate you kicking it with us, man. This has been an incredible conversation. Paakow Essandoh. I hope I didn't butcher it.
No, you hit that.
Yes, sir. Listen, man, I'm a fan of the product. I'm a fan of the brand. But we couldn't do it here in the studio, but you doing your thing. Shout out to the whole team. Again, appreciate you for kicking it with us. It's Stuck in Middle Podcast. Right. How can the people reach you? How can they connect with you? The brand is out there already, but somebody who is otherwise unfamiliar, how can they reach you? How can they connect with you? All that good stuff.
If you want to reach me directly, it's just my name across all social media platforms at Paakow Essandoh. You can literally Google MIZIZI if you want to find us. You can find us everywhere, whether it be Forbes or Vogue, Instagram or LinkedIn. And yeah, I mean, we're all, even holler at our team members, Temi, Kwesi, Ken, Rebecca, MIZIZI Mama. Everybody's friendly. Everybody would love to get to know y'all. And yeah, just holler at us.
Yes, sir. Hey, listen, if you enjoyed what you heard, what you watched, hit the subscribe button to ring us so you get updates every time we drop something new like this. If you want to write for us, SitM Podcast 237@gmail.com is the email. We're at SitM Podcast, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all that great stuff. Appreciate the whole team, AK, Ma, Chiri, Ines, for making this happen. I am your host, Reflex. We're going to see y'all in a couple days with a new Couch Talk episode hosted by Soul Charles. This one is dope. Y'all don't miss it. Please do not miss it. Hey, man, Paakow, bro. We're going to link up again. Thank you again, bro. Thank you.
My guy, Reflex. It was a pleasure talking to you, fam. And we out.
Sir. Yeah, we out.